Okay, so we're now in the lobby at the entrance to the visitor centre. We've got a nice panel welcoming people to the Canal Visitor Centre. Lovely views out across the hills towards Knight's Hayes in the distance. On this side we've had to put some frosting on the windows in order that people don't try walking through them, but we've got some nice images, waterside images on there. And then one security feature of the centre, we've had to secure all the windows so people can't break in at night. So we've had this enormous door made up, which at night time we can lock to seal that window so nobody can break in through there. We also have the big shutters on the front which close at night, so we can secure the whole building. So the first thing people will see when they come into the centre is this horse and cart. It's an original towpath cart that actually came from the Bridgewater and Taunton Canal, which once connected to the Grand Western Canal and which had the same owners, the Great Western Railway. We had the cart in our old visitor centre, but this time we've hitched it up to a horse, a traditional type of horse that would have pulled the cart and also the barges back in the day, and it's been equipped with all the right tack provided by the Tiverton Canal Company. On the top of the cart we will have a canal version of Snakes and Ladders, which will cover most of the surface, so kids can play a game imagining they were in charge of a barge and a horse going to get a load and come back, and that will provide a centrepiece around which people will circulate within the centre. Okay, so around the wall here we've got a beautiful panel that stretches all the way around, ceiling to floor, with some fantastic images. We were very keen not to put too much text on the walls. I think it was a mistake that was made in our old visitor centre, and you often see in other visitor centres there's just walls of text. There is an awful lot to explain to people about the canal, a lot of interesting information. But the problem is if you put too much text on the walls, people just don't read it and they phase out. So what we've looked to do is to put lots of great images all around the walls, great wildlife images, historic images, images of some of the activities people can enjoy here. And so hopefully they can just take it all in. As you say, as you hear, a picture tells 1,000 words. So that's what we're looking to do here. One of the interesting features is this aerial photo that runs along the entire length of the canal. And the definition is such that people who live near the canal can actually pick out their house and say, I live here. So that display stretches all the way around this wall, and there's another one about the history of the canal which stretches around the other. I think we'll go and have a look at that one. So we're now over at the history wall, and one of the best images we have is this fantastic artist's impression of what the Canal Basin here used to look like back in the mid-1800s, when it would have been a thriving and very industrial area. It would have been very smoky, very smelly, very different from the pleasant grassy area we have today. We'd have all these lime kilns burning, quick lime being loaded into barrels and taken away to be spread on farmland. In fact, one of the nicest features of this display is we've been able to pinpoint where within the Canal Basin this centre is built, so people can see that this is the point where they're standing now and see the difference between then and now. This part of the history wall shows a timeline showing the very early days of the canal's inception and the engineers that built the canal, going through the construction, through the days when it was being used, the arrival of the railway and the decline of the canal, the campaign to save the canal, some of the restoration work that took place, some recent dredging, and then finishing with the opening of this centre and the Trailboat Festival that we held in 2008. So it gives people a run through the history of the canal since it was first planned back in the early 1800s. So this is what our designers have called a retroscope. What happens is you turn the handle and you can get to see an old clip. In this case it's an old clip of a horse pulling a barge back in the early 1900s. This will be one of two. There'll be another one on the other side of the window here which will show a kingfisher catching a fish. It's just a nice hands-on feature that kids will enjoy, turning the handle and watching the film. A bit like the old-fashioned What the Butler Saw, although obviously a lot cleaner content. So this is the interactive screen. There's a huge wealth of information, games and activities on this system. We're really encouraging people to have a go because they'll be amazed if they do have a look. The sorts of features it includes is an interactive map where you can choose points along the canal to find out more about. So if we look at the Canal Basin here, there are a number of icons. If you tap on those, then it brings up some information about something in that area. This one's talking about the work that the canal rangers do, in particular some of the educational work. And you can scroll around, so you can look at the view in the Canal Basin. You can actually move, if you hit on one of the arrows, you can go to another 360-degree view. This one inside the Tivertonian, the horse-drawn barge. So we'll go back up to where we started, and we'll scroll around. And here we can see a series of photos showing the visitor centre being built from the early days 4 years ago when we started to do some ground investigation work to see what the ground was like underneath, the archaeological work which exposed the old lime kiln underneath. We did some public consultation work to see what people thought about our proposals, and then we set about doing the work. This is the piling work taking place. Once the pile caps are on, we built this steel frame which supports the building. Then there was the timber joists were added. The walls started to go up. They were all prefabricated and then brought onto site by a crane. The roof went on. All the electrics were put in and the interior panelling was added. We've got a green roof on top. Unfortunately you can't see it from outside, but if you look on this system you can see it here. The insulation and the waterproofing went on the walls, and then all the steel trim and the timber cladding outside were added. We started to put in the displays inside. Bringing in the cart was quite interesting. Get through all the doors. We had to partially dismantle it, but we got there in the end. The panels were put on the walls and the centre was complete. And here we are today on the first day of its unofficial opening. We really hope that people will come and enjoy the centre. It's going to be added to over the coming weeks, and we hope that everything will be finished inside and out, all the landscaping around the outside, in time for the official opening, which will be next Easter, in time for the new tourist season. So come and have a look.